You know, the big news in Washington today is the fact that Cindy McCain, the wife of presumptive Republican presidential nominee John McCain, won't release her income taxes. She doesn't think that it's any of the business of the American public. She says that she's protecting the privacy of her daughters. She says that she's not the candidate for president, John McCain is. Well, folks, there's one little problem with this, and this is something that I've written about before in American Free Press. I've written about it in a chapter in my book, The New Jerusalem. The fact is that Cindy McCain is the heir to a gigantic beer fortune which was passed on to her family through the organized crime syndicate in Arizona, which actually was an extension of the national organized crime syndicate of Meyer Lansky and his partners, the Bronfman family. Well, of course, most Americans do not know anything about the McCain family's quote-unquote mafia connection, which is precisely what it is. And their quote-unquote mafia connection is this gigantic beer fortune, this Anheuser beer distributorship that belongs to Cindy McCain. This beer distributorship, this giant corporation that has provided its private corporate plane to John McCain's use in his presidential campaign. Now, if any other presidential candidate were suspected of ties to organized crime, there would be considerable dismay within the media and within the American public. But note I use the word suspected. Folks, in the case of John McCain, there's no suspected about it. Cindy McCain is a daughter of Jim Hensley. Jim Hensley was a henchman of a gentleman in Arizona named Kemper Marley, who ran for many years both the Democratic and Republican parties for the organized crime syndicate outpost in Arizona. Kemper Marley was a big man in Arizona, but he was only a front man for much higher organized crime syndicate figures. That's how close Cindy McCain, her father, and now her husband, John McCain, are and have been to the crime syndicate. This should be a matter of concern to the American people, and it should be something that the mass media is talking about. They talk about Cindy McCain's beer distributorship. No, folks, this isn't some little beer distributorship on the corner. This is a massive fortune worth, it is said, in excess of $100 million. John McCain is said to be one of the richest men in the Senate as a consequence of his wife's control of this giant fortune which came to her family through their connections to organized crime. Do we want in America a president whose wife is basically what we might call very loosely a mafia heiress? Although I hasten to add there's no Italian-American blood involved here. None of the organized crime figures we're talking about are Italian-Americans. They were part of the Meyer Lansky crime syndicate. But the point is, folks, we do have an organized crime connection here to one of our key presidential candidates, and the media is covering it up. We need to get to the bottom of it. We need to expose John McCain's organized crime connection. I could talk a lot more about it, but I won't. You can get the details in American Free Press. It's been published in the pages of American Free Press. It's all over the internet. Do a check of John McCain and the name Bronfman, B-R-O-N-F-M-A-N, and you'll find my articles in which I have written about John McCain's organized crime connection.